All right. I'd like to bring to order the June 28th meeting of the Tiverton Town Council. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I got a flag.
No, Bill usually has a flag.
Oh,
I pledge allegiance to the flag
United States
of
of America.
America and to
To the
the republic for which it stands,
One
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
Liberty and justice for all.
for all.
All right. Joan, roll call, please.
Counselor Edwards,
Here.
Counselor Burke,
Yes, here.
Counselor Janik,
Present.
Counselor DiMederos,
Present.
Counselors Cook, Perry, and Vieira are absent at this time.
All right, you all have to give me a moment. My agenda just disappeared.
Gibby, take it again?
The dog eat it?
No, my whole Cox just went out on my
No.
computer, so I'm hoping that it doesn't affect this.
Welcome back, Chris. Welcome back, Mr. Carter.
I don't know where he is. Okay, I think I'm back. Oh, maybe not. Okay, so if I leave you, it's only because my Cox just went out completely. It's back again, but it's weird because it only went out on this computer. Okay, consent agenda. Approval of town council minutes, June 14th, 2021, regular session, June 14th, executive session, June 1st, 2021, special session. Acknowledge receipt of minutes from boards, commission, and committees. Planning boards 3, litter commission 1, board of canvases 1, recreation and beach 4. Acknowledgement and receipt of reports from treasurer Saurette, May 2021, budget and revenue reports. Acknowledgement receipt of correspondence, Town of Burlington, Burlington School Committee, resolution requesting the removal of mask mandate for school children. Town of East Greenwich, resolution observing the month of June as Pride Month. RIDOT, takeover of streetlights on state roads, referred to town administrator. Annabella Camp, 912 Boogamash, formal request to town council to send notice to state traffic commission to lower speed limit on state road 177 from 40 to 25 miles per hour, and 2, to put in sidewalks on south and north side of street, referred to chief of police. David Rose, Tiverton Agricultural Ordinance in opposition of agriculture in Tiverton's coastal area. Jean D'Souza, 687 Sepauwett Avenue, concern regarding recent land purchase on Sepauwett to Straight Landing LCC, and in opposition of agriculture in Tiverton's coastal areas, referred to zoning official and building official. Approval of assessor abatements, $19.14. Councilor DiMederos, approval of Bay Street moratorium extension to December 31st, 2021. DPW Director Rogers requests permission to submit RIPDES MS4 annual report to RIDEM. DPW Director Rogers requests permission to advertise for independent snow plow contractors and drivers for DPW trucks. Would anyone like to take anything from the consent agenda? In that case,
I would, actually, I would. I'm sorry, I couldn't get my mute unmuted.
it's okay. I can't wait till we're live.
I just wanted to take off D3, the RIDOT takeover of the streetlights. I just had some questions about that.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda, taking out D3, RIDOT takeover of streetlights on state roads, referred to town administrator.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Counselor Burke, seconded by Counselor Janik. All those in favor, Counselor Edwards,
Yes.
Counselor Burke,
Yes.
Counselor Janik,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. This is an easy roll call tonight, guys. All right,
You won't forget Joe.
Joe's not here yet, right? No.
No.
Counselor Janik, D3.
So I had questions about that. Does that mean that they take over everything the RIDOT does and they take over the cost so that we can pull that out of our budget?
So that will happen, but it will happen after when we did the conversion from the old lights to the LED light, we signed on a contract with Prism to for the cost of changing the lights and for the cost of the electricity and the cost of maintaining. So we paid 3 bills. We're still under contract with Prism. DOT's agreement with us to take over those lights will not take effect until our agreement with Prism is over. So it's one of the contingencies in the issue. And I'm trying to resolve that now because there are capitalized costs that we could resolve and we could get out of the contract with Prism for the maintenance of those. There are 440 lights that we could take out of our bill, but it's a negotiation issue that I'm in the middle of trying to resolve right now to try to expedite getting the state to take over. And when they do take it over, they take over the maintenance of those lights and the cost of the electricity for those lights. We will always own they're not going to pay us for the conversion. They want them as LED lights before they will take them over, and which we've already done, but I need to resolve the issue with the Prism contract first, which
Okay.
Hopefully will get resolved quickly.
So you think that'll get resolved this?
I'm
Coming
hoping it will be,
fiscal
but
year.
that's, there's a couple of other issues with Prism as it relates to the conversion of the lights, especially in some of the neighborhoods where there are decorative lights. There are some extraneous costs that we never factored into that we're in the middle of also negotiating a settlement with them on a major reconstruction in the Daniel Church Estates area. It is what, so we're trying to resolve all those issues at one time and get those lights that DOT is willing to take over as soon as we can. But they won't take them over as long as we have them under a service contract that still has an expiration on it.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Burke,
And Chris, this is limited to just state roads, lights on state roads?
Correct.
Okay. Thanks.
any other questions? Like to entertain a motion to approve? D3.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Counselor Janik, seconded by Counselor Burke. All those in favor, Counselor Edwards,
Yes.
Counselor Burke,
Yes.
Counselor Janik,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Public comments regarding a council agenda item or other town businesses. There's no comments received. I did notice that we did get a comment today, Joan.
Yes, we did.
Can anyone pull that up?
Are you talking about the one, the abutters notice?
The football.
Yeah, I've got it.
You want to read it?
Yeah, this is from Charles Dernty. He says, "Hi, Joan. I have concerns about the variance for live bands for youth football. It is already very noisy on Bulgamarsh Road with fire trucks blasting away as they use Bulgamarsh. The noise from speeding cars, which the police don't enforce any kind of enforcement, buses that stop and go every 100 feet. Is this a one-off thing? Why can't the noise level stay within the ordinance as it is and let the band play with a lower volume? Don't recall football games ever even being played at the middle school. Then there is all the extra traffic using the roadway and parking capabilities off street. Why aren't these games being played at the high school where I believe they are always held? I'm not in favor of this variance, exclamation points. Charles Dernty."
I did read that letter, and I think we need to refer that to the school committee because they're the ones that decide who plays at the certain fields. Mike, are you on mute, Mike?
I believe this may be in regard to item 6A, the Saconnet schooners.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could directly relate it to, their family fun day.
No, he's saying that this is going on now.
No, he's asking, is this a one-off thing?
Okay,
So that's my assumption. I could be wrong.
okay,
And
It-
there's they're applying for sound variance
yeah.
for that,
Right.
that weekend.
Right.
He calls it youth football, not
Right, he
Saconnet
told it
schooners, but I
something
think
different.
it's.
That's, you're right,
Well,
Mike. That's
they're a middle school level football group,
Right.
and they've always played up there for as long as I've been in town, pretty much, anyway.
Yeah, I get, but I've never remembered a band there, so that's what I was confused about.
Right, but this is for fundraising activity.
Okay, I get it. All right, so, saying that, we'll just go into public hearing. 6A, Victoria Viveris, the Connet Schooners Youth Football, 45 Goodwater Street, Westport, Mass. Request approval of sound variance for Family Fun Day at Tiverton High School,
Middle school.
Tiverton Middle School, July 17th, 2021, 11A to 6P, and July 18th, 2021, 11A to 4P, subject to meeting all legal requirements. They're not, as far as the sound variance, do you really need to request a sound variance if it's within our hours?
I think I assume they're
It's
anticipating
9
it.
to 10 o'clock where you can go above a certain decimal.
Yeah, and what it looks like is and I know the woman is here, but they're using acoustic guitars as the entertainers.
Is she here?
Hang on, I'll
Victoria?
bring-
Hi, I'm Vicky.
Hi, Vicky.
Hi. So for the live music, it would just be acoustic guitars. It's not playing football on that day, like football games. It is just a fundraising event for the 17th and 18th, a family fun day from the hours of 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the Saturday and 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the Sunday. Not with the actual band or acoustic playing the entire day. But when I went to the town hall to actually inquire about permits, because we were going to have some type of live music, I was made aware that we should pull some type of permit and put out the notice that there would be some type of music playing.
All right, so, Mike,
Will this be amplified by microphones at all, Vicky?
No, no ampliphones. It's just acoustic guitar.
Okay.
There'll be no PA system, none of that.
You changed your voice very quickly.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My name is Ray. I'm the football coordinator. I'm sorry.
but my
That's okay.
question, and Mike Marcello, maybe you can answer this for me. If they aren't gonna go over the decimal required, do they need a sound variance? Because it's within the hours, you can do that.
Unless they're going over, they don't think they need a sound variance, correct?
Right, and also when we had the police thing at Longplex, they didn't come to us with the sound variance, and they had a DJ playing all day.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering why they need a sound variance. Can anyone answer that?
My sense is somebody out of an abundance of caution suggested they do it. To make sure that nothing came up.
Right.
But if they
So-
don't,
So how long is the guitar player going to be playing for? That-
He's gonna be on and off, maybe a total of 2.5 hours each day. He's gonna take breaks in between. He's just playing a little bit of live music for when people sit down, eat some food by the grill. That's it, really. It's
But
not like he's out
gonna
there.
be- So
I'm
it won't
sorry?
be amplified.
Oh, no. Staying by
If it's-
voice.
So if it's not amplified, it's not gonna go over the sound variance.
I mean, we may have, like a PA speaker set up just to talk to people over the mic for emergency purposes, in case we have to get people out. There'll be something set up for that purpose, but, nothing really, out of control or too long.
Is there any comments from the council?
Yeah, well, I just have one question, and maybe it's a silly one, but if the school department was going to have a football game or a baseball game or some sort of soccer game on those days at those hours, would they require a sound variance?
No.
And if they wouldn't, why do we need one for this?
Well, that's what I was thinking when the football team band is
A
playing.
game
at
is going to be
high
kind of loud.
school.
You know?
Right.
And then also in response to the letter received, both the high school and the middle school are on Boogamarsh Road. They're both on roads that go off of Boogamarsh Road, so I don't see the issue with traffic noise affecting Boogamarsh Road.
Well, depending on the volume of traffic, certainly there could be an increase to an extent, but
Not likely to be worse than a school day with kids
Right.
driving in and out.
My
Well-
question is there a butters to the middle school that we notified?
there's that house right in the
Supposed to
corner.
notify a butters, right?
In the
There's that
letter
house
that I
right in the
received,
corner.
in the letter that I received, there were 3 letters sent out to abutters.
Okay. You know, any of the abutters here tonight, if you are, please raise your hand. I'm going to open this to public comment now. I'm opening the public hearing. So if there's anyone that would like to speak about this subject, could you raise your hand or call in, and Chris is going to redo the numbers.
Did I find them? Hang on.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to find them.
If you're gonna call, if you're watching this on YouTube live, videos, Tiverton videos, you can dial in at 877-853-5247. The meeting ID number is 831-1015-8669, and the passcode is 560-638. And again, those numbers are posted on the town's website for the town council meetings on how to access your telephone number during a Zoom meeting. Again, it's 877-853-5247. Meeting ID is 831-1015-8669 with a passcode of 560-638. I do not see anybody with a hand raised in the attendee
Neither.
room. I don't
Can I
know.
ask a question while there's nobody?
Sure, go ahead.
Is it, so who approves school property being used? Isn't that the
Schools.
school
The
department?
schools.
The
Yep,
schools? So we would just be doing the sound variance, which doesn't even sound like we need to do that.
no, in my opinion, this is legal hours where you can make noise.
Right.
And as long as they don't go over the decimal, which it doesn't sound like they will, none of the abutters are here.
In
But
all
the
honesty,
statute-
that letter that we received sounded like he thought that this was going to be an ongoing every week event, but this
Yeah,
is a
me too.
fundraiser. This is a group that had some issues a couple of years ago, and they've revamped and reorganized, and they're trying to do fundraising. So I think this would be a great event for them. And I don't really see any objections to it.
Is there anyone in the audience once more would like to speak?
I'm just looking to see if the names are on the agenda. Who had mailings?
It came in as a private email this afternoon.
I was looking at the names on the attendees list against the mailers.
I think they could,
We just received something from Chief Jones, who said it was fine.
Yep.
And
And the Zoom information was on the mailer as well.
so,
So I'll read the numbers again, 877-853-5247. 5247. Meeting ID is 831-1015-8669 with a passcode of 560638. I still don't see any hands raised in the attendee room.
Okay,
At this point, Madam President, if you want to close this portion of the public hearing.
yep, I'm closing this portion of the public hearing. Any other questions from the council? I'd like to entertain a motion at this point.
Move that we approve the sound variance for the Schooners Youth Football Family Day on, what's the date?
628.
28, no,
6/28/21
yeah,
at the Tiverton Middle School.
Second,
well, it's 7/17 and 7/18, right?
7/17.
it's Saturday and Sunday.
Correct. On
So it's
July
7,
Oh, I'm sorry.
17 and 7/18.
Yeah, let's get it right.
Yeah, I'm reading right from the agenda. So,
Thank you.
all right, so I have a second from Councilor Janik. Any further discussion from the council? All those in favor, Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Janik,
Yes,
Councilor DiMederos, yes. Thank you, Vicky.
Thank you.
Good luck.
good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, 6B, approval of zoning map amendments regarding district designation for 15 parcels from residential to open space for compliance with Tiverton's comprehensive community plan. I have Jen here. Is she going to speak on it, Chris? Or are you going to start off?
She will. I'll let her speak on it. But we have addressed this in the past to do this public hearing. And it's basically to clean up some parcels, but I'll let Jennifer speak to it.
Hi, Jen.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, great. So in 2018, you adopted the comprehensive plan, and one of the maps in the plan was to change 15 different parcels from residential to open space to protect the properties. And all of these are owned by either the state or the town, or like the Fall River Water Department, Stonebridge Fire District, Newport City Department of Water. So there's nothing that's going to take somebody's private property or something. But these are parcels that the town wants to protect, and so there's nothing out of the ordinary. Just trying to comply with the state directive to make our zoning consistent with the comprehensive plan.
Any questions from the council? This is just like a bookkeeping thing, I believe.
Yep.
Think so.
Any questions from the council? I'd like to open it up to the public hearing. Would anyone like to speak on the subject? You can call in the numbers that has previously been given by.
Yep. Let me get them again. 877-853-5247. The meeting ID number is 831-1015-8669, and the passcode is 560638. All this can be found on the published town council agenda for tonight's meeting on the town's website as well. And so if you're watching YouTube videos, you can find the information there as well. We do have a hand up. Hang on.
T. Cookingham.
Mr. Cookingham or Mrs. Cookingham?
You're on mute.
Hi, sorry. My question is, the town can change zoning on these different properties without costing the town a dime. Why is it if you have a piece of property that you would like to change the zoning on, that you have to go through the hoops and pay all this extra money just in case you turn it down? Isn't there like a halfway point here?
Would someone like to explain this? Mike?
Especially
Yeah.
if you have the footage, you have everything in play, you know, that you know, you have enough frontage to be able to do it. I mean, grant you the the property is a little under where the zone is, but to change the zoning, it wouldn't be that difficult.
So to change an underlying zone of a property is different than seeking a variance or some type of relief from the zoning board. Changing the underlying zone of the property is actually changing what is allowed there as a matter of right. So it's either you're basically amending the type of zone it is, whether it's open space, residential, business, and each of those zones has a very specific setback requirements and whatnot. The law, as it's stated, is that only the town council can change a zone of someone's property. And state law requires that when someone petitions for a zone change, and any owner of property can petition for a zone change, they have to go through a number of requirements. The first requirement is that it gets referred to the planning board for their recommendation, and that's a matter of state law. And then the second requirement is that abutters within so many feet of that zone change have to be notified as well. So that's all set up by state law. In this case, the town is the owner of the property, and I believe that the same requirements were met, other than maybe, I don't think the town paid an application fee, because the application fee generally goes to fund the abutter notice, the newspaper notice, and everything that we normally you would have to do if you were a private landowner, but the town is paying that anyway, so there was no additional. That's the process that's set up by state law, and that's the process that everyone must follow, whether they're a private landowner or like the town is a public landowner.
So even if I went out and got typed up something and went around to each abutter, could I get something like that and have them sign something? That way they approve it or not, or you have to submit that?
No, state law requires that they get actually certified mail notice. So going around and just handing it to them is not sufficient under state law. But you have to comply with all the requirements for the state law, and that happens to be one of them is notice. And it's mail notice.
And
newspaper notice, by the way. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
But private owned, changing a zoning in a zoned area is very different than what we're doing this evening.
Correct. This is actually changing the underlying zone of the property. It's different than seeking a dimensional variance or a type of setback variance of an existing zone. That's a little different. That's a different type of relief. That's also controlled by the zoning board. But it does have the same type of notice requirements or similar notice requirements.
Right, but is there an easier process instead of having to go out and have to spend like $3,000 to get like, okay, a yay or nay that it would get passed versus spending all this extra money to put out to get for the town to turn around and say, no, it's not going to happen? And then you're out all that kind of money?
No, unfortunately, a zoning change is the up to the full discretion of the town council. They can do it. They don't have to do it if they don't want to. It's a legislative act, but the requirement to get to that point. In other words, I understand what you're saying. You're saying, why should I spend all this money unless I know I'm going to get the zone change? But the steps leading up to that request or petition are all governed by state law. So the town council couldn't even make that decision unless you comply with all the steps that I outlined below, and that's all by state statute. And the town cannot waive that at all.
But what's the chances of it getting approved? Slim to none?
That would be up to what is being requested. I can't.
Yeah, it depends on the individual property.
Right, it's under, I mean, they changed the zoning from Boogamarsh down. So they used to be what, an R60, now they changed it to an R80. So we have a little over 1.75 acres, and in actuality, it should be more than that, because I found paperwork that once they put in Crest Road, that the triangle was supposed to go back to the property, and it still hasn't been fixed yet. So, and properties around us, even though they've been there, are half acres, maybe 3/4, and I've seen it on other parts on Crandall Road. So it would help my mom significantly if we had a house in the back.
I think we're going way off subject here.
We shouldn't be discussing this, should we?
So I would suggest Ms. Cookingham.
Right.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I don't know if you've already reached out to the town planner on this issue, but we'd be happy to, if you want to set up an appointment or for a phone call or an in-person meeting, we'll be happy to discuss this
Okay.
issue with you.
Right, who should I contact?
Jennifer Siciliano, she's the town planner.
Thank you.
And then she'll
Thank
contact
you.
me and we'll set up a meeting if we need it, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great night.
You too.
Have we gotten any more? No, no one else is, no, no one else is here. Okay, I'd like to close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the zoning map amendments regarding district designations for the 15 parcels from residential to open space for compliance with Tiverton's comprehensive community plan as written
Second.
or is submitted.
I have a motion by Councilor Edwards and second by Councilor Burke. Any further discussion? All those in favor, Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Janik,
Yes,
and I'm a yes. Thank you.
you.
Non-advertised public comments and input in regard to the use of casino gaming revenue to school and municipal capital expenditures limited to 30 minutes. So this is the series of meetings we talked about. Councilor Burke, do you want to talk before
I just want to note, Madam President, as our policy is the 30 minutes is in total, not per person.
Oh,
Per
that's what I
person,
was-
it's,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so that's what I was gonna try to explain. This is one of 3 that we decided we were gonna have. The first one now, the second one will be at the meeting in July. And then we're gonna have one just for the subject where hopefully we may make decisions at that meeting. We're giving 30 minutes to this entire discussion. And that's what Councilor Burke was trying to explain. Each participant can talk for 3 minutes. I'm asking that the council really doesn't comment on these suggestions this evening. Joan and Jeannie will be documenting all the suggestions to us. And I think it's only fair that we hear all the suggestions, weigh in on them as a group the night that we're making the decisions. And then other people, if someone is making a suggestion, then next week somebody may come and say that they don't agree with that suggestion. So I just want this to be for the public. At some point, of course, the council is going to have to weigh in on this. But I think it's only fair that we hear all the suggestions first. And then after that, we prioritize which ones that we think is important. So at this point, I'd like to open up the public hearing for comment. I see a whole bunch of people in the audience. I'm not sure. Jerry Locken is the first that's raising his hand. Jerry, you're on mute. Hi, Jerry.
Hi. Wow, I was waiting for somebody else to go. So all right, I will go as quickly as I can in 3 minutes.
No. You have 3 minutes.
All right. So just to be clear, first of all, I'm speaking as a individual, not I'm not on behalf of the school committee, but I guess as a school committee member on my own behalf, and as a citizen, as a parent who has children still in the schools. And I hope representing all families. So as you may all know, we've been carrying a deficit of about $1.4 million over the last 2 years. And this has been driven mostly by special education expenses, transportation, now some unemployment since we've laid off quite a few people, pensions, and fuel costs. So we have pretty much exhausted our reserves. Last year, we asked for a budget of $33.1 million, and that would have gone somewhat towards closing that structural deficit. The budget committee voted us 32.5, citing in some instances the pandemic as a reason why they were not able to fund us more. And then ultimately we were funded at $32.1 million. So basically level funding from the town. We did get an additional $200,000 in state aid. We wound up laying off 24 teachers. This year, because of the statutory requirements, we can only request 32.5, but this really leaves us with a shortfall of $1.4 million. And of that, some of that's also driven by the fact that we saw a decrease in state aid of about $500,000, not $600,000. Anyway, what does this all mean? It means that actually our superintendent today is now reviewing our budget to make even further cuts in a budget that has already sustained a lot of cuts. And I'm not sure that we're going to actually be able to meet the basic education plan, but I'm not the educator. He is, but he has been raising these concerns as well. So what I would hope we would do, since this is an extraordinary time when we made some extraordinary budget decisions, including last year, the decision by the part of the school committee to not submit a budget as we were able to do by the charter, but we recognized that these were very extraordinary times. And so we did not submit that 33.1 to the voters because we felt like nobody knew what was going on and we needed to all sort of hold on. So in that instance, I think it would be appropriate as a one-time maneuver to use some of the casino money to both increase the funding of the schools and also to actually offer some tax rebates to people who are also suffering because of the pandemic. I recognize that that might be difficult, but I would envision a algorithm whereby you look at people's income and you look at the value of their home, and perhaps based on that and by an application process, maybe use $800,000 of the casino money to offer some tax rebates. We were hoping, or there was a petitioner's budget to try and close this gap as well. That was excluded by the Board of Canvassers. And so there will not be a chance for the voters to actually decide whether or not they would like to extend this additional funding to the taxpayers or rebate to the taxpayers and funding to the schools. So I'm actually, I guess, asking you guys to do so. We, brought our superintendent, Dr. Sanchioni into this town to really try and improve the quality of the education. And we are making some really positive changes, albeit incrementally, but we are getting good people in place. We are getting results. And in fact, that is attested to by the fact that we were acknowledged by the governor. And I would say that we did the distance learning, the pivot to getting every child with a device better than any other district in Rhode Island or frankly, Massachusetts, which is usually held up as a national beacon of educational excellence. And so I think that, we can, with the casino money, sort of fund our capital. We can perhaps give some tax relief, and we can, I think, bring our schools to where they should be. Again, the improvements are happening, but it's hard to make them happen when we are cutting math specialists, guidance counselors, and other positions that are, student facing. 3 years ago, I would not have said this. I was actually an advocate for reserving the casino money to capital expenses. And perhaps in 5 years, I will come back to that position. But I think that given everything that has been going on, this is the time to try and do this, to really try and make us whole from the previous years. One of the
Jerry, I gave you 5 minutes.
Then I will shut up.
No, it's okay.
Usually known for fewer words than more.
Yeah, I know. All right, well, thank you for your input. And like I said, we're going to take all the suggestions. And I think it's only fair we weigh in all the suggestions at one meeting. And the council decides which suggestions they want to go with. But thank you very much for participating this evening.
All right, thank you. And I appreciate that you guys are observing this process. So thanks.
Thanks, Jerry. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak? Just raise your hand. There's a lot of people in this in the attendees tonight. Is that
Perhaps for the Cat Cafe?
Yeah, that's probably it too.
Might be.
I forgot about that, Mike. Thanks. Chris, no one is dialed in.
No, nobody's dialed in yet. And let me read these numbers again. Again, they're published on the town's website for the council agenda tonight. If you're watching this on YouTube videos, Tiverton videos, you can call 877-853-5247. The meeting ID number is 831-1015-8669. And the passcode is 560638. And again, if anybody's in the attendee room who would like to speak on this matter, please raise your hand.
At this point, I'd like to say that this is a very important decision we have to make. And we are willing to hear anyone who's willing to speak to us. I do get frustrated sometimes because there's a lot of opinions put on social media, but they don't express their opinions to us. And I was really surprised that there was no one that was willing to be on this committee with everything we've heard. But please, if anyone out there is listening to me and they have a suggestion, the town council welcomes you to come to this meeting or to come to the next two next meetings. Because once we make the decision, it's really frustrating after we make that decision that people tell us that they don't agree when they haven't even given us the respect to come to a meeting and give us their views. So I'm just asking anyone out there that's listening, we are willing to listen to you. No criticism, no judgment. Just come to us, tell us what you think, and we're going to take every decision that we make very carefully and listen to all the input, but we're asking for input. So if input doesn't come, then the criticism is really unnecessary if you don't want to speak to us. Councilor Burke?
Just if I may add, Madam President, I think the other piece for people to remember is you can also send in by email, by letter, written comments and written suggestions. In fact, sometimes, especially if your idea is more complex, that's certainly easier for the clerk and assistant clerk to keep track of for us. So I would encourage that. And, ideas aren't simply, well, we think you should pay for this or pay for that. It's also when we look at the pot of money we have and the various things that folks want us to pay for, how do we determine the prioritization of it? So if anybody has suggestions on how to prioritize, a formula or the like that might work, or a rating system, certainly we're open to that as well, because that's certainly something I've been thinking about as we've been discussing this. Thank you, Madam President.
Councilor Edwards, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of what Mike just said. I would ask that if you send a letter, that you also tell us who you are and identify yourself as a actual Tiverton resident or property owner, a stakeholder, in other words. Thank you.
Any other councilor like to comment? I don't see any more hands up. Deb?
I just think it's really important because I think people have great ideas and it may be things that none of us are thinking about. So, just put it out there, whether, it's small, big, you think it's silly, it's just gives us different ideas and what people are thinking and needing and wanting. So if you don't want to speak publicly, that's fine. Like Mike said, send an email, write a letter. If you don't want to do it computerized, just write an old-fashioned letter, drop it off at town hall so that we have your ideas. That's what's the most important thing, is just to make sure that when we make the decision, we're thinking about the entire town and everyone's ideas.
And rest assured, your emails and letters will be read publicly by one of us so that the public can hear what you suggest. So that it'll be totally transparent. So if you do send us any kind of correspondence, we will express that. Now, Jerry has his hand back up and he wants 30 more seconds. Is that okay with the council? Okay, Jerry, come on back.
Hang on.
Okay.
we're definitely under our time
Okay.
limit.
I'll give you a
Thank you.
minute, Jerry, okay?
Oh, okay.
At
I think
least.
I really just need 30 seconds. So, one question that may come, what about the ESSER money that the district will receive? So that's very restricted. We can only use it for COVID mitigation, social and emotional learning, teacher training, curriculum development, and 20% has to be in learning loss. So while that gives us a little bit of flexibility in terms of trying to close that deficit, it doesn't. And again, it's just one-time money. So that just seemed like a question that would kind of occur to a lot of people. And that's the answer. We will. And the other thing is that actually, while we got about 300,000, I just lost my piece of paper. We got something in excess of $300,000 for ESSER 1. We actually already had $550,000 on the books in terms of expenses for COVID mitigation. So that hasn't really helped us that much.
Councilor Burke?
Jerry, can you just send to the clerk so she can share with us for guidance on those funds?
Absolutely. I'll work on it and have Amy and Peter work on it. And sort of what we're hoping to do with that money. Again, that's supposed to be for learning recovery, not for sort of structural deficits that we've been brought forward. And I am more than happy to talk about the structural deficit because it's haunting me. So the more I talk about it, maybe the better I'll feel about it.
I'd like to also mention that we are getting extra money also through the COVID relief, and but we do also have limitations on that. And Chris is trying to sort out every day what we can spend that on so that we can help.
Yeah, it's pretty murky. And if I'll say one last comment, it's sort of the budget process outstrips the guidance we get. So, we only, I think, have just gotten the applications in for ESSER 2, and those are due July 1st. So we only just got the guidance in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Right, and there's also talk that the town is getting extra money, but people need to understand that there are limitations to that funding, and we are under strict limitations, and the state hasn't been really clear, as you've just said. Yeah. They're just beginning to tell us what we can spend that money on. And as far as I know, it's not on general expenses. So that's why we're trying to figure, we are in the same predicament you're in right now. Great. So it appears that we have all this money coming in, but it's very restricted what we can pay for with that money. Councilor Edwards?
I just I don't want to get too far afield, but I wanted to ask Jerry a question. Jerry, what are the benchmarks and the parameters? How do we identify what constitutes learning loss? It's kind of a nebulous question, I'm sure, but
you just answered your own question very accurately. It is very nebulous, and a lot of it's not going to be apparent until we're back in school in the fall, until there's a little bit more information gathered by standardized testing. But I would guess, you don't have to do more than actually talk to any teacher, and they will tell you they're significant. Again, I think we did it better than anybody, but there are definitely things that need to be made up.
Thank you. Deb?
One comment. Yes, the municipal side is getting money from the state, and yes, the school sides are getting municipal money from the state. We don't really know how we can spend it. There seems to be some pretty strict guidelines on it. And the other thing is it's spread over 2 years. So it's not like July 1st, start of our new fiscal year, we're getting this check cut to us, or even at any point during the fiscal year. It's really going to be spread. So it's not like we get this lump right away. I'm assuming it's the same for the schools.
Well, it's also an application process, correct?
Yeah. Well,
the application process is the same for the schools, and
yeah.
I guess we're just trying to address the casino money, not ESSER. but that's
Okay,
it.
so for the record, Jerry, I gave you the full 30 minutes
Thank
tonight
you.
because no one else wanted to speak. And if
Well-
anybody has a problem with it, it's just because there was only one speaker and I decided 30 minutes. So, Council Burke,
Off the subject, Jerry, congratulations to your son for his achievement of Eagle Scouts.
oh yes,
Oh, yes.
congratulations, Jerry.
Well done.
Jerry's,
Thank you. And even more, thank you for the 30 minutes. It's the best.
oh,
30
Jerry,
minutes
I was
spent in a
teasing
long-
you, but I mean, we've given 30 minutes to this. If there's only one speaker, I think you've clarified some things for us and we've clarified things also. And people need to understand that the money that is assumed is not coming right away, as Deb said, and there's restrictions to that money. So it's not accessible to us as people felt.
Thank
But
you, guys.
thank you, Jerry.
Best 30 minutes outside of a school committee meeting.
Chris, as far as I can tell, there's no one else with their hand rose.
No,
And
there
nothing
isn't.
talking. So we are 27 minutes into this. And I'm going to end the public discussion. I'm going to ask anyone who's listening on YouTube or listening to this week after the meeting's been recorded, please, if you have something to say, whether we agree with it or not, we're going to listen to it. And it's best to tell us in person than to assume things that we can't answer to. Thank you very much. And I gotta find the agenda again because it just went away.
Board of Licensing.
Yep, Amanda Souza, I see she's here.
Yes.
Baja's Cat Cafe.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, 137 Main Road. Request approval for victualling license subject to meeting all legal requirements. Amanda, you want to tell us a little bit about the Cat Cafe? There's been a lot of questions I've been asked.
Yeah, absolutely. And I apologize in advance. I just got my second COVID shot and it's kicking my butt a little. So
I know. I've had that.
Yeah. I didn't think it was gonna be this bad, but I'm talking to you right now and I'm about 1,000 degrees. So I'm not sure if anyone really knows what a cat cafe is, but it's a great place for people to enjoy the company of cats, because maybe some people can't have pets at home or they need some kitty therapy. They're definitely just a great way to get a good cat fix. All of the cats that are going to be available at Baja's Cat Cafe are going to be through Forever Paws and the Potter League for Animals. When you walk into the cafe, you're going to walk into the cafe room, which you can have your standard coffee, tea, pastries. We're not cooking anything on site. We're a single service cafe, so there's no dishes to be washed or silverware to be washed. It's paper cups, paper straws, that kind of stuff. Then you walk to your right, you'll see the separate cat room. And then you would go into the cat room by registering on the website. And you would register up to 5 people for up to a half hour. And then you can go in there. You can bring your pastries or your drinks in that location. But it is two separate rooms. So there's no cats crawling all over you when you're just coming in for a cup of coffee. You actually have to sign up to go into that room.
Now, is that room glass so that people can see the cats?
Yeah, so we have these. What attracted me to the building actually was the beautiful glass windows in the front. So in the cat room, we have the 3 big, beautiful windows out front. And then inside, we created several different windows around the cat room. And then 2 of those windows are kind of like bubbles where the cats can go in the bubble. So they kind of stick out into the cafe room. So you'll be able to see them.
Any questions from the council? So I would assume you've gotten all the permission you need.
Yes,
Denise,
ma'am.
Mike's got one.
Okay, Mike.
Yeah. More of a comment. So folks know who might not know by the address, Amanda, you're in what was Andrew's Florist across from Primavera?
Yep, Michael's Florist.
Michael's Florist. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Any other questions from the council?
So you don't go here to get a cat sandwich.
Oh,
Not at all.
Really, Jay?
No.
The Humane Society's gonna call us now, Jay.
Jay, you obviously have not read the backup. There is a very, very lengthy
I saw it.
pictures of lots of good treats.
I'm just being a smart ass.
Thank you.
Lots and lots of good treats.
Yeah, yeah. So you can also adopt cats out of here?
Yeah, so that's the kind of the cool thing is it puts the cats in a more home-like environment, which means the cats are more relaxed than say in a shelter setting. So you can interact with the cats on a more casual, less stressful environment for them.
Any other questions? Chris, do you have your hand up?
It's not a question. I just, to Amanda's benefit, I know that she's worked really hard. She's worked with the Department of Health. She's worked with our fire marshal, our building office. She's done everything that she needs to do. She has ample parking in the back of the building. It's innovative business, and I think wishing her tons of success.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Amanda, when do you plan to open?
Yeah, so this is the funny story. So every single time I try to open, it's always something. So I just got a letter a couple of weeks ago. I needed something called an RPZ machine. So that kind of added to the budget that I had to put in from the water department. So that kind of pushed me back a little bit. And then just I got to get my just all my product ready, and it's just, I don't know, it's always something, but I'm hoping in 3 weeks. That's my main goal. Fingers crossed, toes crossed, paws crossed. Yeah, but I just want to add too that another fun thing I was thinking of kind of doing is maybe paint nights and crochet nights and book club and stuff with the cats, because I think in that area in North Tiverton, we don't really have a ton of stuff for the kids to do that's chaperoned or a cool hangout spot for them to go and get maybe a iced tea or a cookie and see some cats and just kind of be in a cool environment, so I just think it's going to be way more positive than some of the other areas.
Mike?
Yeah, just came to mind. So I know the sign out there says that parking lot is for spring. So do you share that parking lot with them?
No.
Where's your parking? No?
Behind the building. I have
behind the building.
Yeah, and I put up a sign that says parking in back. And then I just eventually when we open, I'm going to also reiterate that parking is in the back, and I was told that street parking is okay in that area. So that's another option for parking as well.
Thanks.
I think there's some great ideas, Amanda, and I knew you were doing the cats and the food and everything, but to add in some of those other programs that parents are always looking for something to do with their kids, and I think that's great. It could be like Girl Scout troops or other groups like that, or just parents and their kids, and birthday parties, or something like that.
Yes.
I think that's a really great addition to our town.
Thank you.
So I think it's kind of serves a lot of purposes.
Thanks. I'm super excited. I can't wait to get started, honestly. I wish I got started yesterday, to tell you the truth.
Right. Any further questions for Amanda? So at this point, I'd like to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. We approve Amanda's cat, or we'll call it Baja. Is it
Baja.
Baja's?
Baja.
Baja's Cat Cafe, located at 137 Main Road, Tiverton, Rhode Island.
Yes.
Subject to meeting all legal requirements.
Subject, yes.
Second.
Motion been made by Council Edwards, second by Council Burke. All those in favor, Council Edwards,
Yes, and I plan to be there at the opening.
Thank you.
Council Burke,
Yes, and I probably won't because of my allergies.
Councilor Janik,
Yes.
and
And I don't know if I'll be there, but we'll see.
They're
I'm a
great.
yes.
You don't know what you're missing, Mike. They're great companions.
Good luck,
I
Amanda.
know,
We
Studs.
hope you, we wish you well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Good
Amanda.
luck.
Thanks.
General business. Patricia Aguirre, no parking request on portion of Cooper and Connecticut Street off Bay Street. Is Patricia in the audience?
I don't see her unless she's coming under a different name. So Patricia, if you're in the audience, could you raise your hand?
So I will read the request. They want stop signs on both sides of Cooper and Connecticut. And this is the reason. We are sick of picking up trash, broken bottles, fishing lights, etc. Actually, also use needles in the streets and on our properties. During the warm weather, especially, many people park in order to have parties and fish on shore. There is no right of way at all except by boat to area in question. So people are trespassing and making a mess on private property, including the wharf, which is privately owned. Not to mention huge illegal fireworks they set off, some of which goes right over the fuel storage tank. Also disrupt our sleep many times during the night, leaving or returning to their cars. Some even take bundles of clams from an area close to shellfishing. So, in my experience, this is usually referred to the police chief, and he does some studies down there. And Patrick, I just noticed, popped on. And then it comes back to us whether or not he advises it. And also the DPW director also gets involved. Patrick, am I correct?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
So if we refer this to you, would you take the subject on and come back to us?
I definitely will. I've already spoken to Mrs. Aguirre, so I'll work on it and have something for you probably within the month.
Any questions from the rest of the council? So we could entertain a motion to refer this to the police chief to get back with us with, well, we won't give him a timeline. We'll take his word for it. Then he'll come back to us for a month. In a month, and me and Chris and Mike will remember this and put it on the agenda.
Refer to police and DPW.
Right, refer to police and DPW. Deb?
And I do have a question because I didn't even know all this stuff was going on down there and I live near here, but I haven't really noticed the Hooper Street and Connecticut Street parking, but Bay Street, they're definitely parked all along there. So is that something that you would want to look at also, Chief? Because if we're saying that, if we decide they're not going to park on Hooper and Connecticut, are they going to then park all over Bay Street and obstruct traffic there and make mess down there? You know, it's just a thought. Or are they just trying to limit it? Have the number.
Bay Street's already restricted. So there's already signs posted on Bay Street onto Hooper, right by the railroad tracks and where that area in question is. So they don't park there, which I think is part of Mrs. Aguirre's complaint. They're not parking where the no parking signs are currently posted. They're parking in the neighborhood on Connecticut and on Hooper and walking across.
All right, because
across, they bring in their fishing gear, their trash and everything else.
I see. All right, so I have seen them parking down near the railroad tracks on Bay Street. So maybe those signs are newer and they're not parking there.
Oh, they're
Not as
parking
much.
illegally.
Or they're parking illegally.
Patrick, are you aware of some of the things she's complaining about? I mean, the used needles, the fishing lines, broken bottles. Are you aware of all that?
She's not wrong. We've actually removed individuals who are homeless. There was a tent city down there going about a year or two back, probably a couple of years now. The primary problem seems to be, as we've experienced throughout the town, It's people fishing, leaving their trash behind, which is systemic across the town. And this is just another area that we're getting hit with, and it's plagued.
All right. So do I have a motion to refer this to the DPW director and the police chief?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Motion's been made by Councilor Burke, seconded by Councilor Janik. All those in favor, Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Janik,
yes.
and I'm a yes. Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
General business B, Renee Jones, Economic Development Commission, discussion and possible vote on council approval to engage with Connect Greater Newport to develop economic development plan. Welcome, Renee. You're on mute. Oh, you're back on.
I'm on. I unmuted myself.
I'm sorry. I remind people of that all the time.
No, I appreciate the reminder because this technology is still driving me crazy.
I know.
So,
All right, would you like to speak on this?
sure. Basically, this is just an informational thing for you because one of the benefits of belonging to the Newport Chamber of Commerce and Connect Greater Newport is the ability to access experts in the variety of business areas. So after our joint meeting with the town council and the other boards and commissions for, I'll interrupt for a second, for which I really want to thank you. I thought that was a really big help for me. I really appreciated that, and the EDC did as well. We voted on developing an overall business plan that would incorporate both the objectives outlined in our economic element of the comprehensive plan and start looking at best ways to have a positive impact on the business climate in the town. So what we did was we reached out to Rich Obermeyer and Isabel Marsh, who are both business liaisons with Connect Greater Newport. And Rich is also a president and CEO of something called the Fourth Economy. And that's a company that's about 10 years old, and it's works with businesses throughout the country. It's an economic development consulting firm that focuses on fostering action to create better communities. So he's got this background, and he's also on Connect Greater Newport with us. So his company has worked with groups like the city of Allentown, Pennsylvania, with groups in Southern Michigan. And what they've done is help these people develop integrated business plans that look at things such as housing, business interests, education, and the impact that all of these systems have on economic development. So when I spoke to him, he sent me, well, the other thing of particular interest to Tiverton is that they work with Rhode Island Commerce as well. So that's a connection that is really helpful for us. And they've developed pilot programs to look into, for example, increasing design and manufacturing in the state. So that's something that they've worked with Rhode Island Commerce, and I think it's something that would be helpful for us to start looking at. So he sent me examples of things that could be done in our business plan, and this is not to say that this is all we're going to do, but these are some of the things they have done. They've updated demographic and economic information for towns that they've worked with and the regions that they're in. They've developed population modeling estimates to sort of know how people are moving in and out of different areas. They've worked on economic opportunity and economic issue identification. They've worked on things like regional trends with other areas. So that would be the kind of thing that might also, if they could do that for Tiverton. And they've also worked on updating housing information, which is something that does have an impact on what's going on in the town. So obviously, if we were to work with Connect Greater Newport, we'd make it specific. We'd be trying to develop something specific to Tiverton. So tonight, basically, this is just, I'm here on an informational basis to let you know that we'll be starting to work on this plan and that there is no cost to this plan because we are already members. So before anybody asks, it's part of our membership fee. If we were to go beyond a basic plan, yes, we might, there might be a charge if we wanted to develop something very specific. But at this point, we're just trying to get something that will, you have these elements in the comprehensive plan, but you need steps on how to get to that element. And that's what this is all about, figuring out, okay, what are the steps we need to take to make sure we can address this economic element that we have in our comp plan. So it's trying to pull things together, and we're lucky to have these people that are able to help us. And basically that's why I'm here, to just let you know that we'll be working with them to work on a plan, and that as it progresses, we will be coming to you again to just let you know where we're at and what's going on. And that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you, Renee. I'm impressed. Great work. Mike? Oh, you're on mute. See, Renee, I have to remind people.
Yeah, I know. My husband wishes I was on mute, Mom.
Yeah.
We're not going to go there, Renee. For anybody's household. So thank you, and I appreciate your leadership on this and the commission's interest in taking this up. And I would just underscore what we discussed in the joint meeting that we had, is that
yes,
while this part is gratis for us, it's still very important. And I know Chris will offer his support and help, but it's very important for, and Jennifer will, as well as others, it's very important that we all help support this. So if there's a need for us to talk to Patrick, I think that's his name, I forget his name now off the top of my head. Rick, I'm sorry, Rick or his staff, or to get them information, I think that's extremely important for us to make sure we do, whether it's, a board or commission, or, the town administrator, the planner, whomever else, that we make every effort to do this so we can get the best bang for our bucks with our membership with those two organizations.
Right. It's a resource that I really want to make sure we use to the best of our ability. And I did want to thank you again for having this meeting. You brought it up, Mike, but I just want to put in a plug that, maybe after the budget is settled and, that's sort of off your plate, we could sort of look at developing or having another meeting. Because I think in the long run, it'll be helpful for the different groups. And it doesn't have to be the same. It may be different people from different groups coming, maybe it's recreation the next time, or maybe it's, DPW the next time, just so people can sort of keep talking to each other through the town and make sure that those lines of communication are open, and we aren't stepping on I'm not stepping on anybody's toes for sure. So,
Renee, at any point that you feel you need to update us, just put a request or call Mike or me or Chris, and we'll make sure that we have you on an agenda.
Okay, doke. That's it, folks. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee.
Thank you so much, Renee. Thank you.
Take care.
Okay, moving on. I'm going to do this as one big batch. And if anyone has any questions, I'll entertain those after I do this. So 8C is Administrator Carter, DBW Director Roger, approval of budget transfers. 3,600 from account 8840-6749 preventive maintenance to account 8840-6459 mowing service. $250 from account 5540-5104 personal service to account 5540-6914 water and sewer. $3,100 from account 5540-5104 personal services to account 5540-7590 IT computer services. $86 from account 5540-5104 personnel services to account 5530-7645 landfill dozer repairs. $1,200 from account 5540 personnel services to account 5530-7732 on-site wastewater management. $500 from account 5540-5104 personnel services to account 5540-7423 supplies and miscellaneous. $830 from account 5540-5104 personnel services to account 5540-6796 line striping. $1,100 from account 5540-5104 personnel services to account 5540-6698 sand gravel salt. $40 from account personal services to account 5530-6240 landfill uniforms. $5,500 from account 5530-7198 transfer station recycle study to account 5530 engineer testing permits. $1,500 from account 5540-5104 personnel services to account 5530-7611 fuel, oil, and tires. $450 from account 5540-5104 personnel services to account 5130-7611 fuel, oil, and tires. I think the major question is, Chris, what's the personnel service account?
That's salary.
Salaries.
Right, it's all salaries?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any questions from the council?
I just have one.
Yeah.
Engineering testing permits. Now,
So
this
that's
is,
number 10. Okay.
yeah, so that's account 7139. The original budget was for 54 grand. And we pumped in another 9,000 for a total of 63,000. Denise's May report says we have $10,783 in it left. So number one, why are we putting $5,500 into it? And is this is part of testing the groundwater at the landfill, correct?
It's, I'll let Rick speak to it, but it's also related to the license extension. And it is related somewhat to the recycling center, but I'll let Rick speak to it.
So we're transferring another 5,500 in anticipation of.
Yes.
Okay.
That's not a restricted account, so that has to be spent soon.
I believe it will be. Rick, you want to address this?
Yes, yes, thank you for the question and the opportunity to explain. The 7139 is for many things. It's for the site surveys, it's for the stormwater monitoring, it's for the groundwater monitoring and the subsurface monitoring. It's also used for the reports that Bar Corporation does, and it's also has been used for the closure permitting, and it's also been used extensively for the landfill extension. So, and also to my knowledge, on our records, the May report is probably not, Denise is not behind it all, but the May report probably doesn't include things that we paid. And we also anticipate by talking to PAR that there's going to be another bill, obviously for the June work. So most of the transportation station, transfer station recycling study fees, funds, weren't spent this fiscal year because we were concentrating on the landfill extension. And the landfill extension wasn't simply saying we'd like to extend the time frame. The capping had to be modified. The elevations obviously had to be modified, which meant the stormwater management had to be modified, the retention ponds. So all that was modified. So since we had some extra money in the recycle center permitting process, we're transferring from that amount because it's probably the closest related to the overall landfill and recycling program.
Rick, I'm glad you just brought all that up. I was talking to Chris earlier today. I'm going to have a special meeting in August because the closure has to be November 2022.
Right.
So I think the council should have some update on where we are in this process, what monies we'll need in this process, because I know that we don't have all the monies we need in there right now. So I'm thinking in August, we'll have a special meeting where you'll be invited, the engineers, and just an update, the timeline, and all the anticipated costs.
Okay.
Okay, Rick?
Thank
Probably
you.
probably the end of August, but I think we need to make the public aware of what's going on and what the anticipated cost is going to be and what we have available to us and what we'll need.
Yes, thank you. I look forward to that opportunity to bring people up to speed along with Park Corporation on what the status is. So thank you.
Okay. Councilor Janik?
So my questions were Jay's questions. So if we're taking, it makes sense, we're taking money from the study into the closure because last year we didn't know that we were going to be able to keep it open that long. But will we have enough to do the study in the next budget?
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
That's what we're going to talk about in August?
Yeah,
Okay.
I really want an update of what the cost, because we have, I know we're short in some of these funds in the closing. And also we have to talk about the transfer station.
Right, okay.
So I want to anticipate what we'll need and how we can get to that point.
Okay.
And if I may, we did discuss this briefly at the last or the second to last meeting by my memory, that we spent all our time on the extension. So we actually will be needing more money, for the recycle center permitting. And I believe it was Mike who asked why was the timing on that? And that was because, as discussed a couple of meetings ago or so, when we started the budget, that was back in November, December, we did not anticipate that we wouldn't be making more progress on the recycle center, but it's just taken a lot of time and a lot of going back and forth with DEM on the extension and the design and the permitting. So yes, it would be great in August to keep everybody, get everybody updated.
Councilor Edwards?
And by way of explanation of why I brought this one up, I wasn't trying to make it look like I was second guessing Rick or Chris. It's just one of those items that has seen, we budgeted one thing, we put more money in, and we're putting money in. Rick didn't tell me anything I didn't expect to hear or didn't know already. I just sort of wanted it out there for anybody else who follows this kind of stuff like I do.
Thank you, Jay. Chris, did you want to say something or are you all set?
So multiple things came up during this process, but because of the landfill extension, our primary focus, and we had unexpected costs related to that extension process that Park really had to do to get that license extended. So it made sense to actually spend the money where it needed so we could keep using the landfill. But as it relates to some of the stimulus money that is coming in, as you know, and we'll discuss this at another meeting, but we may be able to recover some of this money to redo the recycling that we kicked, when we pushed everything down the road and we stopped all expenditures of, doing that because of all our lost revenue. This was one of the items that the feds will actually agree that we can actually restore with some of that money. So that'd be a whole different meeting that we should have on that as well.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up too, because sometime at the end of August or beginning of September, I like to talk about the stimulus money and what we're spending and what our restrictions are and where we are with that.
Okay.
So those are two meetings you all need, I feel is important. And I
Yeah.
may just run them as single special meetings so that we have time to speak about them.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Chris, do we have the landfill extension in writing yet?
Actually, I think, Rick, didn't we get it this week from Bob Schmidt?
Yes, we received it, I believe, at the end of last week. It might have been Thursday or Friday, Chris.
Okay, I think I got it in my email when I get back. So yeah.
Excellent.
We do have it in writing.
So
I'm really
November
surprised.
22.
I'm really surprised Attorney Marcello isn't telling me I'm going off the topic right now. I think he's giving me a little bit of leeway.
No, I was just watching his eyebrows go up and down.
Yeah, yeah.
He's watching us.
Yeah, he keeps a close eye on me. I'm surprised I haven't heard anything.
It is somewhat related, but.
Yeah, it is.
We do need to
It
get back
is.
onto our topic.
And it's stuff that we needed to
Hey,
stay
Heath, I'm getting a
public.
little woozy.
I was waiting, Mike. I was watching your face. All right, so I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the budget transfer request as stated.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Motion's been made by Counselor Edwards. Seconded by Counselor Janik. All those in favor, Counselor Edwards,
Yes.
Counselor Burke,
Yes.
Counselor Janik,
yes,
and I'm a yes. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Rick.
thanks, Rick.
Okay. The next is, I'm gonna read these as a whole too, that they're a little shorter. Administrator Carter / Fire Chief Primal, approval of budget transfers, $7,800, account 33105108, longevity, to account 33107611, fuel, oil, and tires, 2,200 from account 33105105, shift differential, to account 33107611, fuel, oil, and tires, $10,000 from account 33105100, chief salary, to 33107650, apparatus maintenance. I can hear me talking in the background. Can you guys? No?
Yeah, I hear it. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I think it's us.
I think it sounds like
$5,000 from account 31105100, chief salary, to account 31105104, overtime, $35,000 from account 33105101, base salary, to account 33105104, overtime. Welcome, Chief Reimels. Is there any questions regarding these transfers?
So why does the chief want to give all the salary up?
Well, I think it's because.
He didn't earn it.
No, I think it's because it's
Thank you.
extra because he didn't appoint them until later.
Exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
Anyone else? Any questions?
yeah, he earned it, believe me.
All right, so I'd like to entertain a motion to approve transfers as stated.
So moved.
Second,
Motion's been made by Counselor Edwards, seconded by Counselor Janik. All those in favor, Counselor Edwards,
Yes.
Counselor Burke,
Yes.
Counselor Janik,
yes,
and I'm a yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Rick.
Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
DPW Director Rodrick. Rick, we've been talking about this cement thing, concrete thing forever. Request permission to award contract for, and I can never say that word.
Bituminous.
There you go, concrete crusher rental to AJ Potter Jr. and Sons Incorporated. Rick, you back on?
Yes, I would request permission to award that contract. They were the low bidder, they were the only bidder, and they met the legal requirements. And they're also the outfit that has done the bituminous concrete crushing the last couple of years or so, and they do a very good job.
Any questions for DPW Director? Like to entertain a motion?
Move approval of the contract for bituminous concrete crusher rental to AJ Potter Jr. and Sons, Inc.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Counselor Burke, second by Counselor Edwards. All those in favor, Counselor Edwards,
Yes.
Counselor Burke,
Yes.
Counselor Janik,
yes,
and I'm a yes. Thank you, Rick, once again.
Thanks, Rick.
Yes,
Thanks,
thank
Rick.
you all again.
Thank you.
Town Administrator Carter, vote to ratify proposed 3-year contract with IBPO Local Number 406, July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2024.
So, before we get into the substance of it, and I know it's been posted properly, I have, there was a last minute change that I'm gonna have the chief speak to. It relates to some management rights that actually the union was willing to give the chief actually a little bit more leeway. And because it's not gonna take effect until after we get fully manned, I talked to Tim's away on vacation with his family for 2 weeks. He said that we could ratify this subject to holding this section out. And there's one other piece I'll discuss that's not in the contract. It's an MOU that we would be entertaining with the union about life insurance. And that MOU only requires that we explore the possibility and that we discuss it, but there is no requirement that we've had these discussions in executive about the whole life insurance issue. So we're willing to entertain that MOU. I just haven't finished drafting it yet. So that will be also something we ratify separately in addition to the section. Chief, can you speak to the section that I was just addressing?
What section would that be?
Chief, you're muted, so.
Hold on 1 second. I'm just going to look at the section. It was actually, it was under the staffing. I don't have the pages in front of me, but succinctly, it was, we were going to increase the minimum staffing. As you know, minimum staffing for all shifts is 3 officers. We were going to increase the minimum staffing on the 4 to 12 shift to 4 officers, one of which would be the rank of a sergeant.
Correct.
In speaking with the union, which actually I feel that this benefits our management rights and the town, because of the staffing issues that we're having right now, they have given, or they're offering to give me the discretion to delay that or basically control it. Because right now I just had another sergeant retire, and with our staffing issues, we'd be obliged to implement it July 1st. With the language that's being proposed, I would have discretion to implement it or reverse it back to 3 officers if we'd have a staffing crisis in the future. So I think the language that's being discussed and proposed by the union is actually beneficial to us if it puts us in a situation that we cannot fill the shift. I mean, obviously we're all for it and we want a supervisor on all the shifts eventually, and this was going to be the starting point. But as of right now, I'm approximately, as you know, 6 police officers down with 2 going in the academy in July. And I just had a sergeant come in and post his retirement, and he works 1 more day. He works Wednesday and then he's retired. So the language being proposed is, I think, good because it gives us more management rights and more control when we can implement this shift. And in the future, if we experience, hopefully not, an issue with staffing, we can revert back to the 3.
Right.
I think we need to know what section that is so that when we ratify,
I think it's on page 8. It's under Article 6, Section 1A. It's right under where it says first shift, second shift, third shift.
Yeah, I'm reading that.
Is that accurate, Chief? You want me to read it out loud?
Looks right to me.
I'm going there right now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, all right. I see what you're talking about, Mike. Yeah.
It sounds like it, that section anyway.
I believe that's where it is.
But I can't really find where it says minimum staffing goes up to 4.
So it says the third shift shall have 4 regular permanent police officers, one of which shall hold the rank of sergeant on duty at all times for patrols. And that's so.
The Vice President is correct. It's on Article 6, Section 1, subsection A.
Correct.
On page 8 of the contract.
So
your suggestion is that we remove that whole paragraph for now?
We ratified a contract with that exception, and we'll ratify that separately at a subsequent meeting.
So we take Article 4, Section 1A out.
Article 6, I think.
6.
Article 6, yeah.
Section 1, A.
Okay. Anything else? I just want to say I just want to say, and this is kudos to the negotiation team, the police officers, Administrator Connor and Jones. This is the first time in my 10-year history that we ratified a contract before it expires. And I have to say, it went very well. And I have to thank the police officers for the time they spent with us. And I know this is a big deal that we did this before it expired, because I don't remember that ever happening. So that is, I'm really proud of the negotiation team and our offices for getting this done. And Patrick and Chris.
I agree. I think it's truly representative of the town that we are actually trying to recognize the fact that these people need to be paid to do their job. They're well deserving of it. It's not an extraneous contract, but it's representative of the fact that they're very good, loyal employees, and they were tough to negotiate with, but they were also very fair.
Well, there was a willingness to compromise, and that's always what makes it move smoother.
So, I think that the language that they just offered to help the chief is a testament to their ability to recognize the issues that we'd be confronted with. I'm asking that we ratify this because I actually have the payroll going right now to effectuate this, because it takes effect July 1st. So and that's when the next pay is. So, and I will say to their detriment, to their recognition, they have looked at all the salary increases, all the calculations, they reviewed everything. I've had Mary Lou look at them all as well, and the chief has looked at them with his deputy and his administrative assistant. We are all in agreement that the numbers make sense and that they're appropriate, that everything emulates exactly the way that we negotiated. So, but for this piece of language that needs to be rectified, and the MOU piece about the life insurance, which we can do at a later date, according to Tim, and Tim recommends that we ratify this with subject to those two pieces being done later.
And do they feel respected and valued? Because that was important.
They do, but there's a question on what they make and what the rest of the state makes. And they would really like to be brought up to average, but we did the best we could at this point to get them.
I think they recognize the limitations that we have in trying to, because it will be an entire precedent setting to completely make them whole at one shot. It's very, very difficult to do this, and I think that they've recognized that, and that's why it was somewhat of a contentious negotiation with them, but it was also a very fair negotiation with them. They were very adamant about their position, and I think we came very, very close to meeting what they were trying to get to.
The only thing I have to say, and I might be wrong, are we supposed to have a cost analysis with this?
I'll get to that for when we do the ratification of the other two pieces, but we have that cost analysis part of those spreadsheets.
But wasn't that supposed to be posted the 3 days also?
I don't think that was required. I just think the contract was required to be done for 3 days, but I can get that for you as well. So.
That's in the charter, right?
Yeah, I don't mean to.
Let me check.
I'm pretty sure it is, Mike.
Let me check.
I have to got it somewhere.
Denise, can I ask Chief Jones a question that is not on?
Of course, go ahead.
It's not about the contract. Chief, you got two people in the academy. When are they supposed to come out?
So, sir, we have two people that graduated the academy in May.
Oh, they just did.
They just did. I have two going in July 26th.
And do you have two more candidates on the waiting list?
So I do not have a waiting list because we've exhausted the waiting list. So my plan is to wait till the end of the summer, because I'm sure if everyone is trying to hire right now. So if we put out an advertisement now, I'm just competing with state police, Bristol, West Warwick, Cranston, East Providence. So I'm waiting a little while. So we're trying to attract people who want to be Tiverton police officers to Tiverton, and not people, which is very hard, that are on multiple lists right now. So if we waited a little bit, knowing that we have two going to the academy in July, whoever we create a list, those replacements won't be going until the January 2022 class.
Oh, that all makes sense. I mean, yeah, we'd be a lot of wasted effort from what you're telling us.
It's a nationwide crisis when it comes to hiring and recruiting
Yes.
anybody, especially law enforcement.
Absolutely. Go to the high school.
We're actually going to the military too, National Guard members. We're doing, we go to the colleges, we're going everywhere. So we're just, it's just trying to find those folks. And we're in competition. It's like when we show up, there's 10 other agencies that are doing the same thing. So we're all in competition for those good quality applicants.
So
I guess I'm
under,
too old to apply, I suppose.
so on page 9 of the charter, under the town council powers and duties, under item 13, for all labor and collective bargaining agreements requiring approval of the town council, the details of any tentative agreement shall be made public at least 3 days prior to the meeting which final approval has taken place. In my opinion, the actual contract lays out all the details of that contract. And then there's a further section later in the charter that speaks to that all contracts will be on file with the town clerk, which we will do as well. But we will post the total cost of contract for, everything that was on those spreadsheets is incorporated into what the contract is anyhow. So, but we will get those out publicly as well. So I don't have any issue, releasing that information.
Is that okay with everyone?
I just would like to ask, and Mike, you might not know, you're not our labor lawyer. There's nothing in state law that requires that fiscal analysis.
Not that I'm aware of. Generally, it's usually a charter provision or a local law that requires you the ratifying person agency to get a statement of costs.
Because I remember that from somewhere. I'm not sure where.
Well, because we've always done it that way, even when we were on the school committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the same recollection. You're supposed to, or is that just when you do a salary increase?
So we do a fiscal impact when we do a salary increase.
I think with contracts, we usually do it where we're required to do it. I don't know.
You're part of the ordinance book in front of me, could be part of our ordinances as well. I mean, we should just post it anyway, Chris.
I can barely hear you, Mike.
I'm sorry. It could be part of our ordinances as well. I thought we did this with another contract. I just don't remember why we did it.
We've done it with personal services contracts, not collective bargaining agreements that I'm aware of.
Oh,
So like my contract or the chief's contract, anything that was a personal service contract that was non-collective bargaining, we've done.
Right. I think we have done it with collective bargaining, but like I said, were we required to do it? I don't know.
We have the numbers, we'll put them out anyhow.
We'll double check. We'll double check.
Can't hurt.
Okay. All right. So if everyone's comfortable with that, I'd like a motion, please.
Madam President, I would move that we ratify the contract collective bargaining agreement with IBPO number 406 with, shoot, I had that in my head, what I was gonna, with holding in abeyance, section 6, subsection A.
Yeah.
Actually, Mike, that's Article 6, Section
Article
1A.
Article 6, Section 1, subsection A.
There you go.
Until the chief and the administrator come back to us with the final language on that, and to at a later date enter into an MOU or consider entering into an MOU regarding life insurance.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, Councilor Edwards?
Yes.
Councilor Burke?
Yes.
Councilor Janik?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Town Clerk Shabbat, discussion and possible vote on ratification of a one-year extension of Avenue Enterprise Solutions, LLC, contract for land evidence, probate, microfilming, storaging, and recording. Joan?
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, the Avenue Enterprise Solutions contract expired on 3/31/2021. So I requested that they provide a one-year extension so that it gives us time to go out for bid, create the bid specs and go out for bid on a land evidence solution. Includes probate, recording as well.
Any questions from the council?
This contract, one-year contract, does have a decreased cost Generally, we run around 1,900 to a little over 2,000 a month for their services, because it's done piecemeal by document. So they have changed their pricing, and it would be for that service specifically for land evidence, it's going to be $1,550 a month. The reason why it reduced in price is because any supplies we now have to pay separately. So supplies was included, now it's not. So the price has gone down, but the ramifications is we have to pay for the supplies.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Any questions? I'd like to entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the one-year extension of Avenue Enterprise Solutions LLC contract for land evidence, probate, microfilming, storage, and recording.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilor Edwards, second by Councilor Janik. All those in favor, Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Burke. You're on mute, Mike.
Yes.
Councilor Janik,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Thank you, Joe.
Madam President, may I?
Sure.
I did find the general law. It's 45.522. Collective bargaining fiscal impact statements. Prior to executing any collective bargaining agreement between a city or town and representatives of police, personnel, firefighters, and or other municipal employees other than teachers and or other school employees, the city or town shall prepare or cause to be prepared collective bargaining fiscal impact statement. These statements shall set forth in dollar amounts estimates of the fiscal impact during the term of the proposed agreement. No comment or opinion relative to the merits of the terms of the contract shall be included, except that technical or mechanical errors or defects may be noted. B, the fiscal impact statement and the awarded contract shall be publicized and shall be made immediately available upon ratification of the contract. So we are fine with it, but Chris does need to get that up there as quickly as possible with that fiscal impact statement.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike. I
But
think
Chris
we all
already
knew
did
this came
that.
out somehow, but
So we did that when for presentation to the council.
Right.
You would know what the fiscal impact would be when we were negotiating. So those numbers are readily available for us to post. I'll get those up tomorrow.
thank you.
All right.
Is that okay, Mike, Marcelo? Yep, okay.
And Madam President, I withdraw the executive session on it because there's no need for it.
Right, okay. So the only item we have left is town clerk update on FTR.
Thank you, Madam President. At the Board of Canvassers June 25th meeting, the Board of Canvass certified the final canvass. They also certified the final FTR ballot, which includes the Budget Committee budget proposal, Budget Committee resolutions, and Town Council resolutions. We are currently working with the state on the FTR ballot. The Board of Canvass also certified 25 mail ballot requests. And just a reminder that mail ballot requests, there's still time to request one until July 2nd at 4 p.m. Next up is the financial town hearing is scheduled for this Thursday, July 1st at 7 p.m. It will be a Zoom meeting. And then the FTR is Saturday, July 17th with absentee voting on Thursday, July 15th and Friday, July 16th at the town hall from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. The FTR is Saturday at the Tiverton High School. The poll workers and the election equipment have all been scheduled. So we're right on schedule, on target. That's my update for tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for Joan?
Okay.
All right. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Well, Joe isn't here, so I'll say so moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Jay, seconded by Deb. All those in favor, Counselor Edwards,
Yes.
Counselor DiMederos. Yes,
Counselor
I'm sorry, Counselor Janik. I'm sorry, I'm reading something. Counselor Janik.
Yes.
Oh my God, Counselor Burke.
Yes.
And I was thinking, I'm going to tell Joe that the meetings end very short when he doesn't show up. That's what I was thinking when I said that. All right, guys, have a good night. Thank you, everyone.
Thank